All right, hello and welcome back to Season 1, Episode 15 of Borderline FPL, the podcast that constantly crosses the line between FPL advice and Premier League banter. My name is Chris.
My name is Ben, and frustrating week of midweek fixtures for us Arsenal fans, but not a lot of movement on the table, but a lot of things going on, a lot of upsets, draws that weren't supposed to be draws, and yeah, we'll show you how it shook up the table, which didn't really shake up that much actually, but a
Yeah,
lot of important games. There were a lot of important games this week.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's fresh on our mind. For those who don't know, we're basically recording like 30 minutes after the Arsenal Man United game just finished because we want to get this pod out to you guys
Before the
basically
weekend,
tomorrow because games start on Saturday.
Saturday,
Really,
yeah,
really early
Chelsea,
morning.
West
So
Ham.
yeah, deadline is basically in around 24 hours, 36 hours, I guess technically. But
Yeah,
yeah,
soon.
so it's pretty fresh on the mind. But yeah, Ben, we'll go ahead and take a look at the table at the moment and see how things have shaken up after the results from this midweek game week. And Chelsea saw through a win. It was a little shaky there for a little bit, but they got a late winner from Ziyech and won 2-1 this week against Watford. Spurs bounce back. Looks like they're getting a little bit more solid with a 2-0 win this week over Brentford. And then obviously the other main games, City with a win, Liverpool with a win, West Ham with a draw against Brighton, and we just took the L to Man United at Old Trafford. But other than that, pretty much things stayed the same. There were a couple late last minute penalties this week that were big, or I guess kind of like penalties that decided results this week, which were, Rafinha for
Important.
Leeds and Wilson for Newcastle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the big game to start the week was obviously I'll call it a 6 pointer at the bottom with
Yeah,
Newcastle and Norwich, ended up being a draw. Newcastle probably a little lucky, honestly, to get a draw after going down to 10 men, I think like 10 minutes into the game or something it
yeah.
was. It
Well,
was
you
a
know what's
blatant red
crazy about
card.
that game is I watched the full game, and even being down to 10 men, Newcastle looked way more threatening than Norwich the entire game.
Yeah,
Like,
which is just makes you think like it's a missed 2 points for them because if
for
they were
sure.
11v11, then
For
they
sure.
had to take off. I think it was, yeah, Frazier came off like 12 minutes into the game.
Right. And bar a
So
Pookie great volley, left-footed volley, they would
they
have
would have won.
won this game.
They would have
And
won.
you've got it like they've got to be super disappointed in Kieran Clark getting sent off in the first 10 minutes because we
Well,
even
they're
talked
so
about it.
down. We talked about how they're so down at center back right now. They're missing so many players through suspension, and you come in and you know you're rolling. It wasn't even a questionable red card. It was Pookie was cleaning on
Right.
goal,
No, it was
and he
horrible.
just yanked him down. It
Yeah.
was, I mean, it
And
wasn't
and,
like
and we
malicious or
we talked
anything. It
about
was
how
just obvious.
yeah. Well, we talked about how Jamal Lascelles was out this week serving his yellow card suspension for his fifth yellow, and that obviously
Mhm.
really hurt them because obviously Kieran Clark slotted in, and that's what happened. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's tough. But Ben, let's go ahead and get into the results of the week, and we'll go game by game as always. So I mean, we were already talking about it, but
yeah.
here's
We
the
just
1-1
touched it on it.
draw,
Yeah,
Newcastle and Norwich. But yeah, I mean that's literally what happened. Wilson got a penalty from a handball, slotted it away, and Pookie had a
Pookie
great
smashed
left-footed
it left
volley.
volley. Yeah, I mean that was the story of the game. Other than that, there weren't too many things. I think I fully believe Newcastle hadn't gone down to 10 men, they win this game,
Yeah,
and I think they win it by more than one goal. Quite honestly,
yeah,
they went with a very attacking lineup, which is what you wanted to see. It was Frazier, it was Wilson, it was Saint Maximin. So a very
yeah,
attacking front three, a very creative front three. Two of those front three, obviously Wilson and Frazier being with Eddie Howe at Bournemouth and had ridiculous amounts of success, specifically Frazier. He's one that I know didn't get going, but I tipped him a little bit last week. Obviously, I can't predict that Clark gets a red card and Frazier has to be
yeah.
sacrificed.
Right.
I do think if you're looking for a differential in the Newcastle team, it's going to be Frazier because under Eddie Howe at Bournemouth, he was an assist machine. I think he was literally rivaling KDB at one point
Yeah, he
for
was. I
assists
remember
that
that
season.
season. FBL was
It was,
crazy.
yeah,
Everybody had Wilson and Frazier in their team
yeah. He
because
was
they were
literally
both
right.
super cheap and they were just
He was
like
playing for
popping.
Newcastle. KDB was playing in a, I don't know, they're probably like a 750 million instead of
Bournemouth,
$1 billion
Bournemouth.
side. No, I'm talking about City. City was probably a $750 million side at that point, and Frazier was rivaling KDB for assist in that season.
Yeah, I know. You said he was playing for Newcastle.
Oh no,
No, it's all good.
no.
Anyways,
but yeah.
uh,
So not that it's a bit of a dud game, honestly. I mean, it sucks with the red card. Wilson finally getting his goal, but it wasn't from open play. I'm a St. Max owner, so that kind of sucked. But I mean, I got my deserves last week with St. Max the goal and the assist, so it happens. For for Norwich, I still think Pukki is the only option. And that being said, they're about to go on a really tough stretch of games, so I wouldn't be forcing him in. For Newcastle, I still think it's just Wilson or St. Max. I think if you want to take a punt on Frazier, I'm not gonna think it's a terrible shout.
Yeah,
but
I just don't know. I don't know how they're gonna, if they're really gonna set up that attacking every week, because you didn't even mention Joe Linton. So their front three is Joe Linton, Wilson, and St. Max, and then they've got Frazier and Joe Willock, who are both very attacking. So
yeah, but Willock can play more of a number 8. Frazier
can, but he's still still really attacking minded.
Yeah, and then you have Almiron as well, who plays as a 10.
Yeah, so it's basically,
it's a headache for Hal.
Super attacking, and it just I don't know. I think they're really gonna have to sign some defensive players in January if they want to have a chance at staying up, because
I hope they have the budget for it.
Yeah, they definitely do, but it's looking bleak, Ben. Do you think they can turn it around? If you had to bet right now, does Newcastle go down this year?
No. Okay. I think they're going to spend like crazy in January.
I think it'd be interesting maybe for us to look at the table again at the end of the podcast and say what teams we think are going to go down.
I've heard some absolutely insane names already being linked to Newcastle, to be honest.
Like who?
The Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona is one that I've already heard they're trying to target.
Okay.
Which would be just a disgusting signing.
Yeah, I mean that's a St. Max 2.0, but even better. So
I don't know if he would go, because obviously Barcelona.
They need to be signing defenders, bro.
I know they do, and I'm sure that they will. I'm telling you, the second the January window opens, I don't think it's going to be. I don't expect a crazy January, as it never really is. Obviously, there's been some significant.
It may have to be if they want to stay up, to be honest.
But I think that of any club in Europe, I think Newcastle are going to do the most in January. You've just been given a ridiculous amount of money. I don't think Norwich stay up despite their better form under the new manager. But, I mean, it's good to see them not losing every week. It's good to see it be a little more competitive. But in a 6-pointer, a 1-1 draw helps nobody.
I would love to see Pukki stay, or I would love to see Norwich stay up, to be honest, and Pukki. I just like Pukki.
Norwich are ultimate yo-yo club, man. It's literally in the stars for them.
Yeah, probably.
It's literally what they did.
Let's move on. This is the Leeds 1-0 against Palace.
Yeah, boring game until the 93rd minute penalty or something. Was it 93rd, 4th?
Was it that late? It was late.
It was 90 plus to my knowledge, because it was off a corner and then it was a handball. So even then, yes, Leeds took all 3 points, but if you're Palace, I remember a game. It was Arsenal Everton last year, where Everton won. I believe it was 1-0 off that Richarlison, where Leno let it go through his legs basically. And after the game, I think it was Ancelotti was managing Everton at the time, and he goes, "Yeah, that was a 0-0 draw. That was a draw." And I feel like that's probably how Bielsa feels. But you get the 3 points in this case, just like Everton did in that game. Was it deserved? No. Was it lucky as hell? Yes. Are Rafinha owners over the moon? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this game there wasn't much in it, and it was a random deflection. I think, Cooper headed it, and it hit a Crystal Palace player's hand, which was away from his body. He knew nothing about it, but it's a penalty all day. And that's how and that decided the entire game.
Yeah, well, this is an interesting one, right? For a couple reasons. I think there's a couple things to talk about FPL wise. Number one, Rafinha obviously taking the penalty when he's their third or fourth choice penalty taker. Usually it's Matthias Klick, and then it's Bamford, who's obviously hurt. They're both hurt, and then it's Rafinha maybe. But we take those obviously as Rafinha owners. And then I think the main talking point for Palace is the fact that MacArthur was out this week, and so was Milivojevic. So that actually caused, if you watch the game, I watched this full game because I'm a Gallagher and Rafinha owner, so it should have in theory been a way more fun game to watch. But Gallagher was actually playing a lot more defensive-minded this game and was playing much deeper than he has so far this year. Now, I'm hoping, and my thoughts are that's not going to continue very long. I think
it's just personnel.
It's a one-off game where they were kind of missing their two more defensive-minded midfielders, so he had to play a bit more defensive. He still had a couple shots, one shot on target, and like an XG of 0.2. So it wasn't horrible, but I don't think there's any reason to panic as a Gallagher owner. I still think he's actually viable to bring in. I think he's up to 6.2 million now, and Palace are about to walk into a really good run of fixtures. This game kind of started it. Yeah, after the Man United game. So yeah, I think he's viable. Probably not a transfer in this week, but I wouldn't panic on him. Ben, is there anyone else from this Leeds or Palace team that kind of stick out to you?
For Leeds, no. Until Bamford's back, absolutely not.
Yeah.
For Palace, I would have said Benteke, but he was benched this game. Once again, that could have been due to personnel. Like you said, missing the two defensive midfielders. You put in Edouard, who is a little more willing to do the defensive work and drop back as compared to a Benteke who likes to stay up top and likes to just knob the ball down and stay in the box.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's all due to the personnel, but if Benteke
I thought it was, I'll be honest, I thought it was weird from Vieira because
Benteke?
Yeah, because Benteke's just been so good. And when he came on, he actually had like 2 or 3 good opportunities to score.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was purely a personnel thing because Benteke is not the striker that's going to drop back and make a tackle. Edouard's going to work harder for the team off the ball than Benteke is.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
That's the only logic I have for it, but I don't think Benteke is a long-term benching. I think that's just this game. Yeah. And I think that will change. Obviously, keep an eye on it, but like I don't expect it to be a long-term thing for him.
I don't disagree with you. I just thought it was odd for him to switch out both him and Michael Elise, he's been playing right wing, who's actually been playing really well. He played IU and
IU's so finished, man. I don't know why IU's still playing.
He never even came off. He didn't get subbed off either. I don't get it.
No, he had like back-to-back 9-goal seasons 3 and 4 or 2 and 3 years ago. Last year he had 1 goal in the Premier League. This year I don't believe he scored. So I don't know what he doesn't offer assist either. So I don't fully get the IU selection. Honestly, I think his brother's better than him, and his brother plays in the championship.
Well, that's my point. I just thought it was a bit weird, weird selection.
It's a weird team. It's a midweek. It's a midweek game.
Yeah.
Maybe that has something to do with it. Palace, obviously, with United on the weekend. Maybe he's saving a little bit for that and thought his team.
You would think he would go for this one though over the.
You would think he would go for this one, but I think that he had enough talent to win this game, and also he should have gotten at least a draw this game. As we mentioned at the start of this, I think Leeds were beyond lucky to get 3 points.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel that.
So maybe he's just saving a bit for United on the weekend where he thinks he can get something because hell, they beat Man City, so why couldn't they beat United?
That's fair. All right, moving on to the Wednesday fixtures. This was a fun middle of the game week games to watch here yesterday, I thought. But starting off with Southampton at St. Mary's getting the draw 2-2 against Leicester.
Madison again. I tipped him a little bit last week to maybe go on a run. His price has risen. I think it's 7 now. Gone up twice. Last I checked, he was 7. I go up again. Honestly, a bit disappointing from Leicester to only have a draw in this game. On paper, this is something that you surely think Leicester win. But credit Southampton. They battled back. Shea Adams, once again, everyone was having I know you were the Armstrong, the Broja debate, and it's been Shea Adams outscoring both of them, I believe, this season. So, yeah, I mean, it's a one, but I really think that Leicester, they're so Mickey Mouse in the Prem, man. They're so Mickey Mouse. One week they look incredible, and they're competing with top teams, and the next week they're drawing Southampton.
All right, hey, I have a question for you, and this may throw you off completely. I don't understand the analogy Mickey Mouse. Why is it Mickey Mouse? Do you know the meaning behind it?
No, I don't know the meaning. I've just always
because
heard
I've heard that saying my whole life, and I've
heard
never...
it so life, but I don't know what it means.
Okay, I mean, we know what it means. We know what it means. I just don't know why it means that.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Yeah.
I know. I have absolutely no idea, bro. We've just heard it since we were like 4 years old.
It's the Italian manager meme. Oh, what's his name?
Gattuso.
Yeah, Gattuso.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Yeah, it's Gattuso, yeah.
But no, I agree with you. I just, it's weird, right? You think they would win a game like this for sure, and
Especially
Bednarek.
they had the lead. I think they had the lead twice, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure Leicester had 1-0 and 2-1
No,
on them.
Bednarek scored first. He scored in like
Oh,
the third
well,
minute off a header from
they
a corner.
definitely had the 2-1 lead, I believe, correct?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so they had a 2-1 lead and then they let it slip. So it's definitely something that they need to work on. I know they're not fully full strength, and obviously they're missing, in my opinion, their best center back who tore his ACL in the preseason. Fofana, he was Saliba's partner at Saint Etienne,
Yeah,
was beyond.
he was great
a
last
monster
season as
year,
well. So
beyond a monster. So losing him in the preseason is tough, and I think he might be able to come back before the end of the year. I'm not sure. That's obviously very far away. But it's tough for them. It's very tough for them. So
okay, what are your thoughts on FPL assets from either of these teams? You
yeah,
think?
I said Madison last week, and I still think Madison. And
Okay.
I said it, I think, like 3 weeks ago, that Che Adams is a sneaky cheap asset at Southampton. Those are my two. Obviously, you have the Vardy, but he's also kind of hit and miss. 2 goals last week, and then this.
Yeah.
So yeah, but outside of Vardy, I would say, if he continues to start, is a good option, and Che Adams.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's fair for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I would be targeting any Southampton assets at this point. I just don't. They seem they're kind of like a weird side this year, because previous seasons when they've had Danny Ings, he's always been, like if Southampton go on a good run of fixtures, you want Ings in your team. And I think it was 2 seasons ago when Ings like popped off and scored like 20 plus goals. So
yeah, he was in the Golden Boot race.
Yeah, but
I
just don't like third. None of their, like, I know you're saying Adams, and I had Adam Armstrong earlier, who actually did well, not this week, but did well the 3 previous weeks after I transferred him out. They just don't appeal to me that much. I think there's better, cheaper options, like the likes of the Watford strikers that we'll get into, and
yeah, we'll talk about in 2 seconds. Honestly,
maybe even Pookie is a better option than either of them. I don't
know about Pookie, but maybe.
I don't know. I think he is. I think
that one comes down to fixture, but yeah,
maybe. But the thing about Pookie is you just know he's going to start every single week, and he's on penalties, right? So
yeah, true.
And if Norwich score, it's always Pookie, bro.
Typically it is. Yeah,
So,
Sargent really hasn't been able to get going for them.
Yeah, I don't think it's Vardy party time anymore. Personally, I think it's probably time to transfer out, especially with a couple other strikers.
We'll talk about that later.
But yeah, that is an interesting game, and tough result for Leicester, but Southampton fans will be happy with a draw at home at St. Mary's for that one. But let's go ahead and get into the Chelsea game. Watford 1, Chelsea 2. Chelsea got the result with a weird lineup this week. Ben, did you see the lineup?
Yeah, it wasn't normal. Obviously, and he very not one of Tuchel's favorites, as is Saul, who played a little bit too. I think that's his first appearance since he was subbed off at halftime against Liverpool.
Sal's?
So I think they have I don't think he's played in Champions League for them. So they have a $40 million buy option on him. I think Atletico will claim him back in January, quite honestly, and I don't think Chelsea will care. In my opinion, that has been the most pointless transfer of the season.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there.
Fully. I think that if it wasn't a loan and it was an actual buy, it would be not even a debate. But since it's a loan, you can kind of sneak away with it. You're just paying him wages. But he doesn't play for them at all. Mason Mount with a goal and assist. Good to see him back in the team a little bit. I thought Sissoko was brilliant in this game, specifically the first half. I know they lost, but he did pick up the assist. But he was beyond that, just everywhere for Watford. Yeah. The former Spurs man, the French international, kind of rolling back the years in this performance. But the main talking point here goes to the Dennis and King debate for Watford. 2 strikers, both kind of doing their thing. King obviously not getting it done this game. Dennis scoring again. That guy's genuinely just a monster.
Yeah.
But it comes to the debate. If you had to pick one, because they're only 0.3 apart in FPL.
Yeah.
And Dennis might rise again to make it 0.2. I expect Dennis to rise. Dennis is 5'4", King is 5'7". Dennis is going to rise again, so you might as well call him 5'5". You're basically behind one of the two. Which one are you taking? Because I'm probably bringing one of them in.
It's tough. It really is tough. And I think, we'll go ahead and get into it now. I think this is more of a conversation for actually next week, because they have City in game week 15. So
Yeah,
I
they have
don't
City this week.
I don't
Yeah,
love like I understand if basically he's an ends to a means, like if you're transferring him in this week knowing he's about to go into a good run of fixtures so that you can transfer in somebody else with
yeah,
the money. So I get that. So yeah. But it's tough. So kind of you and I talked about this before the pod. Dennis is really overperforming his stats. He does seem like he's more likely to get assists as well as goals. King actually has a very high XG. He has the second highest XG amongst forwards this year so far. And he is also on penalties. And like you said, he's only 0.3 million more than Dennis. With Dennis, the other thing that we're going to get into, we actually had a question about this, and we're going to cover this more extensively over the next couple weeks in our podcasts. But AFCON is coming up. Dennis is Nigerian. Now, the word on the street is thus far, Dennis has not been brought up for Nigeria. Now, on new form, that
they
may
have
change.
Good strikers. They have good strikers
Yeah.
within the Nigerian system. Obviously, the best being the Napoli man.
I heard he's injured right now. I don't know if that's true or not.
He might be, but I think he should be back by the time AFCON rolls around.
Either way,
he's a monster.
He's really good. AFCON starts January 9th, but that is going to be something that we need to start considering when we make FPL plans at some point. Obviously, there's way bigger names than just Dennis that will be leaving the Premier League for
Salah. Salah
for those games. And yeah, it's just one we'll need to monitor. So I think it's difficult, right? Because Dennis right now is on 73 overall points in FPL, which is 3 points behind the top goal scorer or the top point scorer as a forward, Vardy, who has 76 points. So it's hard to tell people, hey, I think King is a better pick than Dennis, but he just might be. Long term, he might be. But Dennis does have way more double-digit returns than King thus far and does seem very threatening. I think, don't get me wrong, I think they're both great picks, and it is very difficult to pick between the two of them. The stats point towards King and the penalties point towards King, but the results thus far point towards Dennis, and he's a bit cheaper. So it's going to be a decision that
if you need to budget that 0.3, go for him. But yeah,
it's going to be a decision a lot of people are going to have to make, and it maybe that 0.3 makes a difference in your overall squad, and then that's a no-brainer, right? But if money is no object, it's definitely a tough decision to make between the two of them.
Yeah.
Moving on to Chelsea defense, let's talk about that just a little bit. Obviously, Reece James was rested midweek.
We have a huge game this Saturday morning. So
when Tuchel was asked about whether or not he would travel this weekend, this weekend, he said, not sure yet. He was hurting too much to travel. Midweek on Wednesday, he got a kick in the ankle. So definitely monitor that tomorrow. Let's wait for Tuchel's press conference and make a decision on that. I think if you're a Reece James owner, you're not transferring him out anyways. You're just going to keep him on the bench because of how valuable he's been so far, especially when it doesn't seem like a long-term injury. If anything, maybe he misses one more game. But, talk to me about Alonso. You think he's a good transfer in? Or do you think...
I think for as long as Chilwell's injured, why wouldn't he be? You told me week 3 when you brought Alonso in, if Marcus Alonso's nailed, he's a no-brainer. So I don't think there's any logic change in that at all, just to give you a short answer.
Yeah.
And with Ben Chilwell injured, who's Chelsea's other left back?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have another.
They don't have one. They could play pool. They've played Pulisic as a left wing back before, but I think that ship has sailed. Yeah. So it is Marcus Alonso, and they're kind of hoping he doesn't get injured. Yeah. Chilwell's injury looks to be pretty severe. It might be a season ender from what I've heard. It might just be a couple of months, but yeah, if Marcus Alonso is nailed in this team, which I don't think Tuchel has another option, then why not?
Yeah, that's fair. I think they play Leeds this weekend? Who do they play?
I believe so. Yeah, it might be. I don't know, honestly. I don't know. Oh, it's West Ham. It's West Ham. It's West Ham. It's West Ham. It's West Ham.
You're right. It's West
Saturday
Ham.
morning, first game of the weekend is West Ham. I totally knew that. Just kidding.
Yeah, so it definitely is an important game for them this weekend. It'll be a tough matchup against West Ham. And yeah, I think Alonso is a decent pick. I don't know if he's a priority transfer this week, but I think I would want to consider him ahead of game week 16 when they do play Leeds. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting for sure. So that's pretty much all I had to say. Chelsea owners monitor James' injury situation. I think Alonso's a good pick long term, especially while Chilwell is out. And I think Mason Mount needs to come back onto our radar a little bit in terms of FPL pick. I think he's good while he's playing. Like when he's getting minutes, I think he's a good option. And Lukaku did not start again this week. He came off the bench towards the end as well.
I think it's just gearing up for him to come back for West Ham. I think that's all it is.
Okay.
I think he'll start this weekend, 100%.
Okay. Cool. Anything else to say on these two teams?
No, we can move on to this one. This is a great result for Brighton, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad result. I mean, I think Brighton has
from their form recently to draw with the fourth place team in the league after being down 1-0 fairly early. I'd be very happy with it.
Yeah. I think
Sanchez had a great game. Mape, I don't like him, but I appreciate him stopping West Ham a little bit this game.
Yeah.
And then Souček.
Didn't he score with a bike?
It was something stupid.
Yeah, it was a nice goal.
It was something stupid, yeah.
I think it's West Ham definitely left this one thinking they lost out on 2 points because they were the better team overall. They had better chances than Brighton throughout this whole game, and Mape basically, I mean, he just tied it up with a great.
It was the exact same thing
kick.
He did against Leeds, just a ridiculous goal late in the game to steal a point.
Yeah, it was a nice Lamptey assist who came on.
He's such a player, man. He is such a player. If he gets to be a starter again, he's an FPL consideration for sure.
Okay. What are your thoughts on West Ham moving forward? This game week starts their... Is it this game week?
No, it's Chelsea. They're playing Chelsea this weekend.
Yes.
They're playing...
Gosh.
Yeah, wow.
I have no memory whatsoever.
Wow.
Game week 16, sorry.
Yeah, wow.
All right, move on.
Hey, guys, so in case you don't know, Chelsea play West Ham this Saturday.
Hey, guys, what's up? My name's Dory. How are you?
Yeah, no crap.
Anyways,
my days. So after this week, West Ham go into a very good run of fixtures because this week they play Chelsea.
Yes, they do. They play Chelsea this
after this week, West Ham go into a great run of fixtures. Someone like Antonio, I'm gonna say someone like Zuma is not a bad shout.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm a big Zuma fan. I might consider bringing Zuma back into my team. He's a goal-scoring threat from center back. I think they're a really good defensive team. Yeah, I do love Zuma. He was one of the best goal scorers last year, and he barely played. And he bagged against Liverpool this year. Not how many teams bagged against Liverpool. So, yeah, I think Zuma and I think Antonio. I think you can make a case for Bowen or Fornals. Bowen had a good little stretch, but Fornals kind of seems to be more consistent with it. Souček is a bit of a punt. I know he scores his goals, but this season seems a little bit less than last year.
Yeah.
He's really good at showing up late, but yeah.
I think for me, if you're going for a midfielder, it's Bowen over Fornals. But I think they're both decent options. Antonio, obviously, a lot of us have just had him rotting in our team, just absolutely stinking up the place for the last 5-6 game weeks. He hasn't scored in 5 game weeks.
Yeah, he hasn't done a thing. All he's done is pick up yellow cards.
Golly, and he will most likely not return again this week because they play Chelsea this week, Ben.
Yeah,
just in case you didn't know.
No, yes.
Okay.
We should move on from these two teams.
We will. But I think West Ham's relevant. So, yeah, I think Ben Johnson played again this week. He actually got shifted to left back while Creswell was out and Kufal came in to cover for him. I just think that shows how much faith Moyes has in this young fullback. And I think he's currently the best value defender in the game. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. In game week 2, I came on the pod and I said, Livramento is the best value defender in the game at 4.0, and he proved to be so for that period of time. Southampton don't have great fixtures. West Ham are about to run into an amazing fixture run, and they basically have a nailed defender at 4.0 million. So I think that is fantastic value. He's already in my team. I transferred him in 3 weeks ago. And, that was back when I wasn't so sure on whether he was nailed or not, but now I'm fairly certain that he is. And while he's playing this well, I think he continues to have Moyes' trust. And I think he's definitely someone that we should be looking at, especially if you're trying to look for a replacement for a Livramento, or if you're trying to downgrade a defender to upgrade a midfielder or striker, I think it's completely valid. So yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. I think we'll talk more about Antonio and Bowen and Fornals next week's pod. Yeah. Okay. Not much to say on this one. 0-0 Wolves at home to Burnley.
Frustrating. So because I took Antonio out for these couple weeks, these like 3 weeks of not the best fixtures, and I brought in Jimenez as his replacement because he had Norwich and Burnley back to back, and he just did nothing. It was really frustrating too. There's a chance in the first half, Traore does what he does so well, gets away from everybody, runs away from everybody, has Jimenez easily to square it, and he goes for the shot and rattles the crossbar, and Jimenez is just left there frustrated.
Yeah.
Wolves should have won this game. I think it was poor decision making in the final third, a couple unlucky bounces, but they should have won this game. Burnley never really threatened. But yeah, it was just really disappointing as a Jimenez owner for those 2 weeks where I ended up being just in what I did and taking out Antonio because he's done nothing, but then his replacement also does nothing despite having insanely good fixtures. So frustrating for both. I would stay away. Wolves are about to go into a very, very difficult stretch. I'm probably going to take a -4 and get Jimenez out of my team this week. We'll dive into that later. For Burnley, I wouldn't be prime on Burnley assets this week or ever.
Yeah, well, I still think what's his name is a great option. I can't even think of his name. Sorry, the midfielder, the new guy. No.
Oh, Cornet.
Yeah, Maxwell Cornet. And yeah, Burnley are still on a decent run of fixtures, and they will continue to have a decent run of fixtures for the next 3 to 4 weeks, I think. So I think Maxwell Cornet is still an option. But other than that, I don't think I would tip any other Burnley players other than, Burnley defense is always viable, in my opinion. Charlie Taylor, Matt Loughton for cheap defenders. If you want some Burnley players, I'm not against it.
Yeah, not much to say on this game.
Yep. Moving on. All right, Ben, this is City is continuing to win games, Ben. 2-1.
I told you beginning of the season, even when they were down, I think 6 points and they were in 4th or 5th, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not backing away from City win the title take. And they're still not in first, but I will once again not back away from my City are winning the title take.
Fair enough.
They are, in terms of depth, also they're the best squad in Europe in terms of depth.
Yeah.
They're the best team in Europe, not just the Prem, not just England, in Europe in terms of depth. It's ridiculous. And that showed again this week. Diaz with the goal, which I know you were thrilled about.
Yeah.
Only to be sad because Watkins scored later.
Yeah, I can't even be mad at that goal, to be honest. No, it was a great
a great goal.
Great corner, to be honest. He made a good run. And maybe Ederson could have done a bit better, not getting beat at the near post, but it was a nice finish. And City.
But this finish of this game came from Bernardo Silva.
Oh, for sure. What days. A goal! He's class, bro.
Dude? You know what was crazy? I saw something today, and it was people you forgot played together, and I just thought back to that 2016 season in Monaco when him and Mbappe were together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Fabinho too.
Yeah.
You know how much talent.
Well, that's why they won the league, bro. They had such.
Well, not only that, they were deep in the Champions League. No one knew about these guys, and it was I won't say his name because he's obviously got some other issues going on right now. But Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Fabinho, Thomas Lamar was on that team.
Yeah.
It was. I'm talking about the Manchester City left back was also on that team.
Yeah.
But that team.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then their goalkeeper, I think it was Subotic, went on to get second place at the World Cup with Croatia too.
Yeah.
That team was so gross. The team that reminds me of them most right now is actually Ajax currently. Yeah. Just while we're discussing European football, I think Ajax have one of the most insane rosters in Europe that is just not being talked about.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, Ten Hag's done a great job over there for sure.
But you take the players they have. I think Anthony, that winger, is going to come to the Prem in a couple of years, and he's going to cost someone 60-70 million.
Yeah, I could see it. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
back to this game though. Foden didn't play. He's set to be back this weekend, which is good. I wouldn't be shocked if he does play this weekend to give him some minutes, and then their Champions League game this coming week is a wash for them. They've guaranteed first in the group, so
no reason to play him really.
no reason to play anybody. I wouldn't be shocked if you see players like Cole Palmer get a start.
Yeah.
So I do expect Pep to go with a strong 11 this weekend. It's not Crystal Palace. Who is it this weekend for City?
City play.
We talked about this like not long ago.
No, wait,
No,
I
I'm
know
forgetting.
this. They play Watford.
Watford, yeah. So it's not a great opponent, but also with their next Champions League game meaning literally nothing to them,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if he rolls out a strong 11 for this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think main talking points for this one from an FPL point of view, number one, Ollie Watkins, I think, is absolutely a viable pick. They're about to run into, finally, a good run of fixtures for Villa.
Mhm.
And he's most certainly the pick over Ings at the moment. I think Ings is maybe hurt.
Yeah, he's been off and on so
He
much.
hasn't been starting, but Watkins is the go-to. I think if you're looking for a replacement for a Jimenez, if you're not downgrading, or if you're looking, if you're tired of Antonio and you just want to get him out of your team, I think Watkins is viable. And yeah, I think he's just a good pick overall moving forward. City defense, I'm still not worried. Their last two games, obviously they've conceded a goal, but one was from a wonder goal from West Ham last minute.
Insane
And
goal.
this one was from a really, really well-worked corner routine. So it's not like teams are getting a lot of opportunities to score on them in open play because they just genuinely aren't. And so I'm not worried. Part of me, I even texted you this week, and part of me literally is considering a triple up on Man City defense.
Yeah.
Call me crazy, but I think it could pay off massively.
It's just a lot of eggs in one basket.
Oh, for sure.
It's just a lot, and it takes one slip up, one mistake. Like we've seen Man City's concede to some of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
So, like, it just takes one small mistake, and that's your game week, like in the mud a little bit.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
also if it hits, you're doing insane. So it's high risk, high reward. But I don't blame you if you do.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people, have triple Chelsea defense, and 2 weeks ago it was dreamland, and then this week it was horrible. So, yeah. I mean, that comes with it, but the thought process behind it is over time, you're gaining points because on the game weeks where you are hitting, maybe there's an assist or two from your fullbacks or defense, even a goal maybe like Diaz this week. That's upping your rank over time, even if they do get a clean sheet wipeout, one in every 2 to 3 games. But that's just my thoughts. I think you can definitely not do that. I'm obviously currently on double City defense. I think Bernardo's a great option moving forward. He actually looks like the first name on the team sheet to me.
You can't take him off. He's too good right now.
He's just unreal. Like the thought that he was on his way out this summer because he barely played for them last year is crazy to me. But with KDB being off and on this year, he's the main staple in this midfield, in my opinion. And obviously, I've said it's tough with him as an FPL asset because obviously he's playing kind of like this number 8 role, but it is a more attacking number 8 role. And with City having so much possession as they do, it's just like any of them could score, right? So it's just tough to call a goal scorer from them on a week by week basis, in my opinion. But I think he's definitely an option. I actually think Gundogan's an option as well. He didn't play this week or this game, but I think he's an option moving forward. I think Gabriel Jesus is an option for your forward slot. I wouldn't want to be spending the money on Sterling. And I think Foden's an option moving forward as well once he comes back into this team. But those are the main ones that I would focus on is Foden, Bernardo, and possibly Jesus if you need a striker spot.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. I don't think I had anything else to say on these two teams. I think City starting this week really, really have a good fixture run.
Yeah, they have a great run of fixtures now.
Yeah, I think people are probably going to want to be tripling up on them at some point, at least doubling up on them in some form, whether that's a defender and a midfielder or 2 defenders or whatever. I think now's the time to hop on City if you want to do so. All right, let's move into the rivalry game, Ben. We saw Everton take a thrashing to Liverpool, as everyone has recently, 4-1.
Yeah, it was. I know Gray scored to make it 2-1. This game was never close. It really just wasn't. It was all Liverpool all day, and they looked to be one of the most dominant sides in the league. Everton, obviously, I've been in shambles by their injuries. I actually love what I don't know. I think it might have been a director or maybe an owner, like someone high up at the football club was on a radio show yesterday, and he was talking about Benitez. I know you tipped him to get sacked, and I was like, I don't think so. I think it's just the injuries. And the guy literally just said that basically. He's like, look, like Benitez is a good coach. Like you saw what he did at the beginning of the year. Like he's a good coach for us. And we've just been ravished by injuries, missing our most important players every week. He goes, over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we should be getting all of them back. And I fully expect us to have a better second half of the season than we did the first. And if that doesn't happen, then yeah, maybe. But for now, no, like we have full faith in this guy, and it really is just the injuries. Calvert-Lewin, I'm not sure when he's set to come back, but it shouldn't be that long now. I wouldn't expect him by Monday. Doucouré is back and playing. But yeah, I mean,
are they missing anybody else other than Calvert-Lewin at this point?
Trying to think. I feel there's definitely someone else I'm just not thinking of. But
is there? I don't think there is anymore. That's my point. Is like I get there without Calvert-Lewin, but I still feel like they should be. Obviously, they don't expect to win this game, but I still feel like they should be doing better than they are. I understood when Doucouré was out. And there was a period of time where Charlison was out as well. So it was literally they just had nobody going forward. Gray got hurt a game or two ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand that. But, you know, if their only player that they're missing out on is DCL, granted, he's probably their best player. I still think they need to be winning against some of these lower in the table teams. So
yeah, well, that was their first goal in like 5 weeks or something this game too. It's not even that they're just not scoring. It's not even that they're like conceding. It's just they don't score. So they're in shambles. Obviously, I hope that continues through Monday when Arsenal play them on the road at Everton. We need to bounce back. That won't be an easy game, and they're obviously starting to scrap a little bit more. They know they're in trouble, but they look a team all out of sorts right now, and Liverpool have made many clubs look all out of sorts right now.
Yeah.
So
no, Liverpool has. I think they have the best attack in the league. I mean, that's definitely up for debate, but I think they have.
I think they do.
Yeah, just
I don't think
the front three of Salah, Jota, and Mane is just unreal, in my opinion. Personally,
Jota doesn't even normally start. Firmino's the guy that really makes that system.
I think Jota is just Jota's a better goal scorer than Firmino, no question.
Yeah,
right?
But Firmino's the one that kind of just. Klopp loves the way he makes the system gel. Ergo, why he's picked every week.
I think when Jota plays, I think Mane is hindered a bit.
Yeah.
So
where Firmino really takes Salah and Mane's game to the next level with his connecting and dropping back and letting them run and drawing defenders. He does an incredible job with that. So I mean, they're one of the most well-oiled machines in European football. They've been playing together for a lot of years now. The majority of this squad been together for 3, 4, 5 years now. Obviously a couple new additions, but every summer Liverpool aren't the team that's going out and adding 3 or 4 players. They're adding maybe 1. And they're only going to get better too. They're getting healthy again. I saw recently, I don't know when he's going to be back, but maybe some point later this season, Harvey Elliott could come back, who great
love
kid,
that kid.
Honestly. Love that kid. Like, hope he does well. Hope he comes back because he was keeping Thiago out of this team, which for like a 19-year-old is insane. Yeah. Wherever old he is, maybe he's 18. But yeah, this week it was Robertson's turn to get the assist. Salah, 30 points as a captain. He's stupid. I had Mane as my player pick of the week. My logic was there. He just didn't get a goal this week. I thought they would smash Everton and they'd score a lot, which they did, but he didn't get one. So
yeah, you and I did the same thing back-to-back weeks. I picked Mane and Jota got a brace, and you picked Mane and Salah got a brace.
But yeah, it's the way of the road. But it happens.
I mean, I think
they're just insane.
Yeah, no, they're so good, and yeah, I think Robertson kind of. I don't know if maybe he played with a chip on his shoulder a little bit because some people were talking about how they think Tsimikas should get some starts maybe. But Robertson is so good. I love him.
He's one of, if not the best left backs in Europe. So I think Tsimikas knows his role.
Yeah, I agree. I think. What are your thoughts, FPL wise, on Liverpool? Is it almost like a necessary triple up at this point, or what?
I wouldn't say necessary. I think there's a lot of other options, and I've been a Jota owner before and been immensely frustrated by him. So if you want to go elsewhere, you can. I don't blame you if you choose to go for Jota. I think obviously Salah's necessary. Trent is obviously more or less a necessity. if you want to go for that triple up with Jota, I wouldn't blame you. But if you want to take a punt on someone else, like maybe we talked about a Bernardo or a Foden, who are about to go into a ridiculously good run of fixtures, and Firmino might come back late December too. So you only have a couple more weeks of Jota. So if you want to plan more long term, I don't think so. But if you're going for I need points now, yeah, maybe go for him. But if you have Salah and Trent and you want to look elsewhere, I don't blame you at all.
That's fair. I think Jota is going to start hurting some people's ranks if he continues to score and people don't have him in their team. That's my only thought. I've always been. I know there was a period of time earlier this year where you and I both had him. He was slightly frustrating. I think he maybe scored like one goal over the 3 games we had him or something like that. But I'm still of the opinion that if Firmino's out, Jota's an FPL no-brainer just because he's playing as a striker in the best attacking team in the league. And the numbers he puts up in terms of statistics are borderline in line with Salah, like very close to. So
yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah, I think he's a great pick moving forward, and as long as Firmino's out, obviously. And then I think if Firmino does come back and Jota starts to be kind of a minutes issue again, then you can maybe look to a Bernardo or a Foden or something like that. But okay, let's move on to today's games, Ben. We started with Spurs at home, 2-0 to Brentford, sorry.
Yeah, Son was robbed of an assist for this game. He crossed the ball in.
No, he was not.
Yeah, he was. He crossed the ball in. Brentford headed it into their own defender and then went in the net for an own goal.
Yeah.
Son was robbed. He deserved the assist. He did get the goal later. I'm a Son owner, so obviously I'm biased as hell here. He was robbed of the assist. Honestly, it wasn't even a debate, in my opinion.
You're simply wrong. This is just blatant blasphemy right now.
I'm completely correct. I've never been more sure of anything.
He had the Brentford defender headed it into Sergi Canos, and it was an own goal.
Yeah, and he's not even going to get a bonus point either, which is just wrong. Lloris doesn't deserve a bonus point, in my opinion. He had 2 saves. That's ridiculous. Son had the goal. He deserves a bonus, and he had, in my book, the assist. Reguilón is becoming very necessary to talk about. He is playing so advanced in this Spurs team. Not just, I only watched the first half because then obviously I switched over to the Arsenal United game. I saw the highlight for Son's goal. Reguilón in that first half was in and around the box 24/7. Yeah. Every time they went forward.
Reguilón looks more of a threat than Harry Kane. And I own Harry Kane. So
yeah, no, you were very upset today with Kane, as you have been for 2 weeks.
Rightfully so, to be fair.
Yeah, I told you his heart is not in that team anymore. Look at how he plays for England and look at how he plays for Spurs. It's 2 different
I don't
players.
know if it's that simple. I mean, obviously that's what we would assume, right? Is why does he play well for England and he doesn't play well for Son? The easy answer is because he wants to play for England and he doesn't want to play for Tottenham. But I think it also has to deal with the fact that you have to consider when he's at England, he's surrounded by some of the best creators in Europe. I mean, genuinely, like that team is just full of creation.
Yeah, no,
this
Bukayo
team
Saka,
completely lacks creation. Son is a great player.
They're getting there.
Son is a great.
There, but yeah.
But that's my thing, right? Is this is what I think happened, and this is what I was going to talk to you about earlier, and I said I'd save it for the pod. I think when the new manager arrived, he was like, Conte was like, I want Kane to be in the box all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And then he got a couple games into this team, and he kind of realized, oh, crap, we really don't have any creative service at all whatsoever. Kane is capable of dropping into those pockets of spaces and actually creating for Son. I think I'm going to have to allow him to do that instead of, saying you have to stay in the box, because those games where Kane was just strictly staying in the box, they weren't doing anything. And although Kane doesn't look like that great of an FPL asset right now, he had the assist for the assist today for Reguilón.
the pre-assist.
Yeah, exactly. So he's getting into good pockets of space. He's playing slightly better for Tottenham. He's not obviously getting on the score sheet as much as we would like him to. Now, last year he kind of did the same thing. He was dropping back a lot, and he had double-digit assists last year.
Yeah, so he was the leading assist guy, I believe.
Yeah, so it's a difficult one, right? Because as a Kane FPL owner, we want him to be scoring or at the very least assisting. but he hasn't thus far. I think he may start to come into that role a little bit better. It's a tough one, and this is going to be one of the main topics I'm going to talk about when we get to my team. But keep or sell Kane is a tough question that I want to dive more into. But obviously, happy for you as a Son owner. I think Son is the better pick between the two of them, undoubtedly. He's playing much more far advanced. He's making the runs for a ball from Reguilon or from Kane or Lucas.
No, Son could have easily had a brace this game, honestly. I thought he was the best player on the pitch for Spurs.
Yeah, I think he was as well. What do you think about Brentford? Is it time to just completely dump all Brentford assets?
I need to look at their fixtures, but probably. I still have Mbuemo. I want him out. I'm probably just going to bench him next week.
Yeah, I sold Tony this week for Callum Wilson, and happy that came off. But I just don't.
It's just ugly. They're really regressing. You mentioned them regressing to the mean. They're regressing below the mean at this point. They look a shell of what they were, and that could have just been initial excitement of playing in the Premier League, and no one knows what to expect. But
right, I think it's a tough sell. You mentioned you'd have to look at their fixtures. I'm looking at them now. They play in their next 4. They play Leeds, Watford, and Southampton.
Yeah, that's actually really good. So maybe not.
It's maybe tough though. I feel like if you don't get red soon, you're gonna be here in game week 18 with Mbuemo still on your team, and he's gonna be $5 million at that point and still have no goals. I think Tony is maybe you could keep, but I think Mbuemo personally, I think he's got to go. I don't think it's necessarily I don't know if it's a priority sell, but if you don't get rid of him this week or next week, you're gonna hold him for 4 game weeks and then be sat here and maybe it paid off, maybe he scored you 1 or 2 goals in that span, but I don't know. It's a tough one for sure.
We'll see. We'll revisit this again. I'm sure we'll talk about them again.
Okay. What do you think about? Do you think about Spurs? Do you think Conte solidifying them defensively, or do you think?
Brentford 100%. It's exactly what I expected him to do. He's going to switch to a 5 at the back. Check. He's going to get them more clean sheets. Check. And he's going to win games 1 or 2-0. Check.
Yep.
It's everything I expected from him. It's everything we've seen from him as a manager. And yeah, will he struggle against the bigger teams that can press his back 5 and force them to play out of the back and make people like Eric Dyer play under pressure? Absolutely. But against teams like this that don't have that capability, it's going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So that's my take.
Okay. Yeah, I think Reguilon's a decent FPL option moving forward as well. So I agree with you there. All right, let's get into it. Last game of the week, Ben. We just watched it. We just watched it.
Just so frustrating. Arsenal go 1-0 up. Weirdest goal I've ever seen in the Premier League. Fred fouls De Gea. De Gea falls down. Smith, I'm not even.
No, I know you're right
here. Like that's literally how it happened.
Here's a question I want to ask you. I want to ask you real quick before you get into it. Do you think De Gea knew Fred stepped on him, or do you think he just assumed an Arsenal player did?
He thought it was Gabriel and wanted the free kick.
Mm-hmm.
And the ensuing play, Smith Rowe takes a shot. De Gea's literally curled up on the ground, and the ball goes in the net. It probably gets saved if he keeps playing. It was a decent shot. Go 1-0 up, and then the most frustrating thing, Arsenal are playing a young team. There were 2 senior players in this team today, and that was Aubameyang and Partey.
El Neni too, technically, but yeah.
El Neni as well, yeah. But those 2 specifically played incredibly poorly.
Yeah.
And it was just frustrating because after Arsenal scored and took the lead, it wasn't part of their tactics to drop back and sit in as much as they did. Arteta was on the sideline screaming at them to press up and keep going and keep attacking. But they almost looked as if they were scared and over-respected this Man United team. And sure enough, right before half, they score a goal. And then right after half, they do the same. Arsenal battled back well because they knew they had to attack at that point in their first real attack after that, and Odegaard scores.
Mm-hmm.
And he went from 0 to 0 in about 0.2 seconds with a ridiculously unnecessary foul on Fred in the box, like not even close. That being said, VAR completely screwed Arsenal out of a penalty in the first half, with Maguire yanking down Tomiyasu on a free kick. How that one wasn't even looked at is beyond me.
Yeah.
But obviously we could have done a lot more. Every goal this game that Arsenal conceded was down to individual errors. The first one, Ben White doesn't clear the ball that far, and even when he doesn't, the defending afterwards was poor. The second one, Tavares has a 2-yard pass to Smith Rowe that he mishits, goes to Dallo. he bangs it to Rashford, and Rashford goes inside and plays Ronaldo. And the third one, obviously, a penalty. It's individual errors, but it's more importantly the senior players that aren't stepping up.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that is personality. Arsenal's senior players this game, very introverted. El Nenny's not that outspoken. Aubameyang, unless he's doing well, is not outspoken. And Thomas Partey, no matter what, is very introverted. When you bring senior players into your team, you want them to be extroverted, someone that's not afraid of a fight, someone that doesn't back up when a team tries to just body you like United did against us today. Someone like, the perfect example for me, Leno to Ramsdale. Ramsdale is outspoken as hell, does not shy away from a battle, and lives for the challenge. He's done it his whole career. He's played on much worse sides than this. Mm-hmm. So it's frustrating, but then you see the younger players, the only ones trying to take initiative. I thought Gabriel Martinelli was the best player on the pitch for Arsenal today, by quite some distance, honestly. I thought that he was the only one fighting for the badge at the end of the game. I think that he deserves to be the starting striker going forward. I wouldn't keep Aubameyang in this team personally. And credit United, you got 3 goals, you get the win, and you get Rangnick coming in as well. But for Arsenal, this just feels like just a huge disappointment because it's a game that, quite simply, they should have won. We should have won this game. Yeah. And we let this one slip completely.
Yeah, I don't know if we necessarily should have won this game, but we definitely should have at very least gotten a draw out of this. I
think we should. I don't think their goals were good enough to be like, oh yeah, they outplayed us there. I think that you need to bring Tierney back into the side. I love Tavares, but he's too mistake prone occasionally. I think you need someone like Tierney that's willing to fight, a senior player that's willing to fight. And I know you hate him, but Granit Xhaka is that too. We're missing him as well. Partey was horrid today. And Xhaka, yes, he has his flaws. Yes, he makes his mistakes. But at least Xhaka is someone that's not going to shy away from that. And he's someone that is very vocal on the pitch too. He's willing to tell the team, hey, cut this shit out, go forward. When we go 1-0 up, cut that out, go forward.
I disagree with you fully on that just because I've seen Xhaka make... I can't even count the amount of individual errors he's made that lead directly to goals. And
but how many of those are we still seeing within this team? How many of those are we still seeing against Liverpool? Tavares today, Odegaard.
That's a left back. That's a young left back. You're talking about a difference between a young left back who's brand new to the Premier League and a veteran that is supposed to be a solid in midfield. There's a complete difference. And also the amount of times that he's done that and then completely shied away and not taken responsibility for his errors is unreal. So you want to talk about being vocal. Yeah, he might be vocal on the pitch.
He's the one that makes posts on Instagram apologizing to the fans after he makes mistakes.
No, he never does that.
He has done that.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he has.
No, he doesn't. Yes, and specifically, he didn't do that after he disrespected the badge. That guy's an ass clown. He doesn't deserve to wear the badge. Anyways.
No, you're wrong, but okay.
Okay. I mean, you can't point to a single opportunity that he's proven that he deserves to be an Arsenal player. Genuinely, he has never once been consistent.
We're not doing this debate today, but yeah, we missed him today 100%. We missed someone that was more vocal.
I think we definitely need more leadership in the team. I don't agree that he's the answer, but we'll move on from that. I agree with you that Aubameyang needs to stop playing because he
needs to be benched.
I don't know. He's just not playing well at all.
He doesn't bring anything to this team. If I'm going into Everton on Monday, my front 3 is Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, if Saka's fit.
Yeah, honestly, no, I don't disagree with you. Do you think Arteta has the ability, I guess, to sit Aubameyang and play at Martinelli at striker?
You act like he hasn't done this before. He benched Alba for the North London derby because he was late to a team meeting.
Yeah, that's a bit different than not performing, though, right? At least he had
he's benched Alba in the past. He can do it again. I don't think that Arteta is scared. I don't think that as a manager you're supposed to be scared of big personalities. Hell, we saw Carrick come in and bench Ronaldo last week against Chelsea.
Yeah.
If Michael Carrick can bench Cristiano Ronaldo, Mikel Arteta can bench Aubameyang.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I just don't know. I just don't know if he'll actually do it.
I think he needs to. We need something. Martinelli's been our best player for this game and arguably since he came off the bench last week.
Yeah.
He's fighting, he's running, he's doing everything that Arteta praises Aubameyang for, but he also capitalizes on his chances more. He does it a lot more than Aubameyang and better than Aubameyang.
Yeah.
I thought despite his goal, Odegaard wasn't great today. Saka obviously came off the bench and he came on right after they scored their penalty, so wasn't able to make much of an impact. A couple half chances. Smith Rowe with a goal, but other than that, he had a couple half chances, didn't do that much today. it was bad in attack, and we need to change it up. This team is crying out for a big center forward.
Yeah, we need to sign a striker for sure.
There's a lot of links to Calvert-Lewin from reliable Everton sources today after the game, not Arsenal sources. So
that's interesting.
Who knows?
Okay, well, let's talk about FPL a bit for these two teams. I think I said back in like game week 8 or 9 when Man United started to really struggle, I said, okay, we're going to pause on the United talk, but we're going to start talking about them a lot come game week 15. And here we are. And Ronaldo just scored a brace against us, and Fernandes scored his first goal since like game week 3. So I think that, when we started talking about this team at the beginning when Ronaldo came in, we said, okay, if Ronaldo is going to succeed in this team, we think he needs to be playing alongside. They need to, number one, get Sancho more comfortable in this team, and Rashford needs to be playing alongside him as well. And I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first time all three of them have started together in a game in the Premier League.
Might have, Premier League, yeah.
So I think this is their way forward. It's going to be a front three of Ronaldo, Rashford, and Sancho majority of games with Fernandes in behind. And I think maybe in the winter, or I don't know if they're going to want to do this, but I think they do need to sign a defensive-minded midfielder. I don't think McTominay or Fred. Are good enough long-term.
I don't think Fred's good at all. I think Fred is one of the worst in the Prem.
I don't disagree with you. At least one of the worst top 6 midfielders.
I know he had 2 assists. He drew the penalty. That was beyond ridiculous from Odegaard to go in for that challenge. Like, he wasn't even gearing up to have a free shot or something.
Yeah. I agree.
And then the other assist was just a layoff, and Bruno took it well. Bruno finally scoring against it. Just so frustrating. Just such a frustrating afternoon. The non-penalty claim on Tomiyasu, the way that we conceded our goals was just beyond frustrating today.
Yeah.
For United, though, Ronaldo, Rashford, and Sancho, I rank them in that 3 of options: Ronaldo, then Rashford, then Sancho. I really do think Rashford will start turning up for this team, though. He always does for United.
Yeah.
He is beyond lethal on the counterattack, and I think he'll do a great job. Obviously, Ronaldo's the best pick, most likely, but those are the 3. Outside of that, I wouldn't look at anyone else in this United team. Defensively, I don't think they're good at all.
The only thing I'll say defensively is I could see, some people, if you do an early second wild card, if you want to look at De Gea, I wouldn't call you crazy, because he's $5 million and he's racking up saves consistently. And starting this week, game week 15, Man United play one top half side from now until game week 27, and that's West Ham at home in game week 23. But
they're about to go on an insane
this is the best fixture, like extended fixture run for any team in the Premier League this year on schedule. So, I mean, Ralph is definitely set up for success here, coming in right now at this time when Ronaldo's starting to find form. They feel like they probably have their full strength attack team moving forward. Obviously, they were missing Aaron Wan-Bissaka today, out with a injury.
They're missing so many. They were missing Pogba. They're missing Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
They didn't start Bailly.
Well, that's a good question to talk about. They
didn't have Shaw.
Does Pogba have a place in this team now?
If he wants it, absolutely.
Where?
In the mid. You're starting McTominay and Fred. If Pogba wants a place in this team, he can have it. The question is, his contract ends in the summer, and he has shown no intention of signing a new contract. So if you're the manager, do you want to play someone like that? Or do you want to play someone that's going to be here for the long term? Because I always think the better option is the second one. So, but yeah, if you don't think Pogba can get into a midfield that's starting Fred and McTominay, insane. Absolutely has a spot in this team.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. I just think, earlier on in the season, he was almost playing more advanced so that they could still play a midfield 2 of McTominay and Fred. But he doesn't typically perform very well for United in a number 8 role because he just doesn't do the defensive work that he needs to do. So
yeah, that's going to come down to the new manager, who's huge in the pressing, and what can you get out of him when he's back? Will you get anything out of him? But yes, he has a spot in this team if he wants one, no doubt.
So yeah, I think we'll start looking at. I think Ronaldo's a great option. I think Rashford and Sancho will be good options at some point. I don't know if I would jump on them right away, but I definitely think they're good options moving forward. I still think Smith Rowe's the best attacking asset for Arsenal, pound for pound. He's doing the business over Saka majority of the time, and Aubameyang is just not worth the money simply at this point in time in FPL. And that's about it. I still think Arsenal defense is good value, as it has been all season. So, other than that, that's about it, Ben. I will go ahead and get into my team, and we'll talk a little bit more about fantasy. I had a good game week this week. I had 75 points from an average of 53, game week rank of inside the top 500K. I made one transfer, and that was, we talked about it last pod, it was Ivan Toney to Callum Wilson. Obviously, I'll take that little bit of luck this week getting a penalty when they were down 10 men. I think, he could have even scored more if obviously they didn't go down to 10 men. So, maybe you can call it lucky, but I think,
yeah,
it is what it is. That's what I expected, is for him to, get a goal. He got all 3 bonus, which was nice. And then midfield doing pretty well, other than Gallagher, who we talked about earlier, played a bit more defensively and got a yellow card this week. But Rafinha scoring the last-minute penalty, Jota getting on the score sheet, and Salah obviously is the king of FPL. Diaz got me a goal, which was nice. Unfortunate that they conceded that goal to off the corner, but I still am happy with the double city defense moving forward. And this week, I will show how my team is lining up ahead of game week 15. And at the moment, I have no plans to change anything. The only thing I'm actually considering, and this goes against my normal FPL rule, which is always play the attacker, but I'm considering doing this and just putting Antonio on the bench for this week. I don't know if I'll follow through. I probably won't, if I'm fully honest, just because I think typically the better move is to play the attacker just in case he scores. And I think Brighton could easily score on Southampton personally. But my other thought, Ben, and this is going to be difficult. I'm going to be thinking about this for the next 24 hours nonstop, is obviously I have Kane at home to Norwich this week. Typically, you would never, ever transfer a player that has the capability to pop off, is on penalties at home against Norwich, arguably the worst team in the league. You would never transfer him out ahead of that fixture. But Ronaldo just popped off against us. I think Ronaldo's finding form in the Premier League. I think United are a better attacking team than Tottenham, and I think specifically Ronaldo is just a much better pick overall than Kane. Ronaldo has Crystal Palace at home this week, and Kane has Norwich at home this week. My plan at the moment is to roll, but I very well could go ahead and, because eventually, if I do roll this week, Ronaldo will be coming in for me next week for sure, no doubt, because they play Norwich at home next week. Or actually, I'm not sure if it's at home. It might be away. I'm not sure. Either way, they play Norwich next week. So basically, it would either be getting ahead of that and just going ahead and hopping on him this week because I think he'll outscore Kane, or I'll just leave it and go ahead and do it next week. It's a tough decision. Typical FPL rules would say you need to leave that fixture and not overtinker, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted. What do you think? If you were in my position, what would you do?
I have said every week, and I told you before we recorded, I'm not a fan of Kane.
So if you were in my position this week,
I would do Ronaldo.
You would just go ahead and get Ronaldo.
I would just go ahead and do it. I think he's the better player. I think Kane has shown absolutely nothing this year to justify that, oh, well, since it's Norwich this week, he'll pop off, right? No, like, they've played bad teams. Yeah. He hasn't done anything, and he has shown zero anything to be like, oh, well, this is the week. It's like me with Aubameyang. Like, oh, no, this is the week he gets it.
I'm not saying I disagree with you at all, right? The only thing in the back of my head is the fact that Kane did score a brace at home against Newcastle, who basically have an equivalent defense. And I know he hasn't looked good. I do think he's starting to look slightly better under Conte.
Mm-hmm.
But he was not playing as far forward as I would like him to be against, a team like Brentford. I would have liked him to be more so in the box than he was today. even though, he ended up getting the pre-assist for Son's second goal. So it's a tough call. I think it's definitely a tough call. I think either one could do well, and I may just opt to hold him this week just so I have the 2 free transfers just in case of anything next week. But it is tough, and it may very well happen. So that's where I'm at. But overall, I'm pretty happy ever since game week 9. I talked to you about this earlier, but when I did the Havertz catastrophe, I went down basically 600K in rank. And then since then, I've clawed it all the way back, basically 750K in rank. So happy with the bounce back here. And hopefully I can keep doing well moving forwards. But you can go ahead and share your team with me, Ben.
Yeah, so I had a bad week. I think refresh the average is 53, so I'm barely over it. Sanchez with the bonus point was nice. White, Livermento, whole defense really just shambolic. Salah is the only reason I did well. Everybody but Son blanked. Sissoko on my bench with 6 points, whatever. You don't expect that.
Yeah, so. You wouldn't start him anyways.
So yeah, it's difficult. For what I'm thinking this week, honestly, I might just do it. Right now is I might just take the -4, get him out. I love him, but I hate him right now. Bring in Ronald, and then instead of
he loves when you call him Ronald.
Yeah, I know he does. And then instead of him, because he's in tough, I am kind of leaning King.
Okay, so you're leaning King over Dennis?
And that's kind of what I think I might do. I might just click make transfers, honestly, because I don't want to forget. But this is kind of what I think I want to go into with next week, and then hope that Mbeumo does well, maybe use him for these 2 weeks, and then try to get him out, bring in someone else in defense maybe.
How much money does these 2 transfers leave you over with?
0. It's 0.2.
0.2. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if I got him, it would be point. If I got him, Jesus, wow.
Dennis,
it would be 0.5. But I think that Ronald's going to go up in price soon.
Yeah.
I think that.
Let me actually check the price change predictor really quick and see.
These fixtures are insane. Like, it's genuinely insane. And you're going to just want him.
So at the moment, the only person that looks like it's increasing in price tonight is Bernardo.
Yeah.
No other price risers tonight, but
this will all be done by the time this is posted, so y'all already know who's risen in price and not. This is what I'm thinking. The only thing would be King or Dennis is the only debate I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, yeah, and then after that, I might roll for a week, let Mbeumo play his 2 good fixtures, get him out, get maybe a different defender out, and maybe try to bring in a City defender, a Chelsea defender, or Kurt Zouma, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And then go from there. But from now, we'll see. Honestly, I'm just going to do it. Yeah, screw it. Let's take the -4. And there you go.
There it is.
Yeah, that's the team for next week.
Did it live on cam for you guys.
Let me switch him and bring him in instead of Mbeumo. And then I want to start Livermento. Not really, honestly. Maybe I will start Mbeumo. Yeah, this is probably how I'm going to line up this week.
It looks solid to me, to be honest. I mean, other than obviously King.
Other than him, yeah.
You might even want to bench King this week, personally, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but he's about to go into this, which is why I really brought him in.
Yeah, obviously, but for this week specifically.
I know, but everyone says that, but then Dennis scored against Chelsea last week, so like
it could happen.
Might be worth a punt, but yeah, that's probably how I'm gonna line up this week. Honestly, is this? I'll save it right now, and then Livermento first off the bench. Sissoko.
That looks solid to me. I think those are good moves for you long term for sure.
Honestly, he's
and I think especially because a lot of people won't be bringing in Ronaldo this week. This may be a good opportunity for him to get him
before he goes up a lot. Sanchez is someone I might move out in a couple of weeks, try to bring in Ramsgoat, but we'll see. But yeah, that does it for my team. Let me go to Twitter real quick. I believe we had one question this week. We had another question from Jake about AFCON, but we will touch on that in a couple weeks as we get closer. So the question we got is from Hunter Gardner. He said, I want a hot take of who is going to be the next player from the EPL to win the Ballon d'Or, and how many points they're going to have that season in FPL. Let's do it where it's not Salah, because that's the easiest answer.
Well, I was going to say it's literally going to be Salah this season.
It's going to be Salah like this coming season, potentially.
I think it'll be this season.
It's him or Benzema right now. Both of those two are the top 2 contenders.
Yeah, I think. His question was, who do you think the next Premier League player in the EPL is going to be to win the Ballon d'Or? It's going to be Salah this season, and he's going to score 350 FPL points. That's my
Yeah,
my guess.
let's make it more fun and do the one that isn't Salah that you think is going to do it.
That's tougher. Do you have one on your head?
I have like a way future pick.
Okay.
But like, yeah, it's Gabriel Martinelli. That kid's going straight to the top. You can laugh. That kid is going straight to the top.
Oh, the Arsenal bias is in full-fledged right now.
Give it 5 to 7 years. That kid is going straight to the top.
Hey, I'm laughing just because the Arsenal bias, but I do think he's a good player.
He's literally going.
I don't know if he's that good though. I don't know if he's that good.
He is.
Ballon d'Or, Ben?
Yeah, like in 5 to 7 years when he's like not 20 years old. Yeah, they'll be talking about it.
I don't know, man. He's not even being talked about as like one of the best youngsters in the world at the moment.
Because he's been injured for the better part of the last year. He didn't play that much. In 2 weeks, he has 2 goal contributions. I'm not surprised.
Okay. I'm trying to think of the next Ballon d'Or winner in the Premier League. I guess my guess would probably be Foden, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because you want to know the guy who finished the highest Premier League finisher this past year.
Jorginho. Yeah, that's a troll. It's a popularity contest. Let's get that straight out.
Yeah, it should have been. I don't think
Lewa should have won this year. Yeah,
Lewa should have had a trophy last year, but they didn't do it despite the fact that they still played. I don't get that. Yeah, you can make your case for Messi this year, right? Like he won an international trophy. He had a great year. And I'm not knocking Messi. I think Lewa was better. 100%. I think Lewa should have gotten it.
Yeah.
But Messi got number 7, and I don't think I'm not sitting like mad at it. Like I don't think he didn't deserve it. I just think Lewa was better. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win it. Salah finished 7th, which is wild. Ronaldo finished 6th. I genuinely don't know how it's going to go. I think it's just such a weird trophy that only goes to like attackers as well. So you have to pretty much take out most midfielders immediately.
Yeah.
Which sucks for the likes of like Kevin De Bruyne or something, because I think he finished 8th this year.
What do you, let me ask you this question. Do you think Ronaldo will ever win a Ballon d'Or again?
No, I think he's done with it. I think he's done. I think that his time is past, and I think that we are slowly moving into the Haaland Mbappe era. Haaland's transfer is going to go crazy. If he joins Man City, wrap it up already. Like seriously,
that would be disgusting, bro. What would his price be in FPL?
18 million, like on God.
Nah, be realistic. What do you
like
think
on God? Like okay, like on God, I'd start him at 12.5, 13 million.
Yeah,
not even joking.
Well, if you consider Ronaldo started at 12.5, you would have to say he probably starts at 12.5, right? Maybe
he's
even
going into a better team,
yeah.
And he's he's one of the best finishers in the world.
Yeah,
and yeah, it'll take him. I think his dad played for Man City. And in case you don't know, his dad is his agent.
I did not know.
So, yeah, there's a lot of cards that are lining up. But yeah, that answers that question. Thank you for sending that in, Hunter, and we will get into player picks.
Yeah, let's do that real quick. I just want to ask you a question. Now that Spurs did not sell to City in the summer, right? For what I think maybe 110 something.
150, bro.
Yeah, but what was offered by City?
It was like 2 players. It was like 2 players and 100 million, which would have totaled probably closer to 200 million.
Yeah.
Like in terms of total value.
Do you think Spurs are gonna long term? Are they really regretting that now?
I don't even think it's a long term regret. I think it's instant regret. The 200, like look at what you could have bought, right?
Yeah.
Like think about what you could have. And I know that like, yeah, they have trouble. Like they had a deal agreed with the center back from Villarreal, Pau Torres, and he was like, no, I'm not going there. But like that's Haaland money. And I'm not saying that Haaland would have agreed to join Spurs, and like respectfully, not even trying to like slander Spurs here. I don't think he would have. I think he's holding out for Madrid, City, or like Barca or something. But there's a lot of great strikers around Europe that would have gone to your club. Osmisen, the guy we mentioned earlier in this podcast, he's one that I think would have gone. He would have been ridiculously good in the Premier League. I think Alexander Isak from Real Sociedad is a fantastic striker. There's so many other good things that you could have gotten.
Yeah.
And Kane's value has probably been cut in half at this point.
Yeah. I don't
So
know about half, but he's certainly gone down
from 100, from like
significantly.
150 to like 75 million. Yeah,
Yeah,
like something
maybe.
like
I
that.
think he's still. You maybe go for like 90, something like that. But
Maybe just because of English tax. If he
right,
goes in the Premier League, English tax. But if he goes out
I can't see
abroad
him
to
going
somewhere,
abroad.
I
Kane
don't
going
think he would
abroad.
want to. There were the rumors of Madrid a couple of years ago, and they're always going to be there. But they don't need him. Benzema's ridiculous right now. Benzema is the second best player in the
Benzema's
world at the
aging
moment.
like fine wine, bro.
Benzema, he's taking notes from Giroud on how to grow up in soccer and just keep doing well.
All right, Ben. Let's get into the player picks.
Yeah.
As always, I'm gonna bring up the fixtures for this
Fixtures.
week.
Who did you have last week?
I chose Saint Max last week. Or wait,
I
no,
chose
did I?
Mane.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
you did. I
No,
think so.
I didn't.
No. Who did you? I took Mane, so I got like a 2 pointer.
No, I did choose Saint Max. Yeah, you
Yeah,
chose
so
Mane as 2-pointer.
So we both got 2 points.
Yep. So it's
you're
still a
up
1-point game.
Yeah, so 75-73 now. Nothing really changes.
No, 76-75 is what it is now.
Regardless, yeah. Sorry.
Yep. No, you're good. I
either way.
chose first last week, I think.
Yeah, you did.
So it is your turn to go first, my friend.
Yeah. So the games that strike me, obviously Spurs versus Norwich, United Palace, and Man City Watford. Liverpool Wolves as well is a good one. There's a lot of very tilted matchups this week. Man City Watford, Liverpool Wolves, and United Palace. It's very tempting to go with Ronaldo after that last game, and after with the new manager coming in as well.
Yeah.
But Palace are a good team. I kind of am looking at Man City's fixture against Watford.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to take João Cancelo. Yeah, I'm going to take Cancelo.
Okay. I like that pick.
I'll take João Cancelo. I'll go with a defender.
Dude, he's basically
he's not a defender. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so João Cancelo against Watford. I am going to go with this is tough. I was going to go with one of the Spurs boys, but I picked against Norwich last week, so that's boring. I'm not going to do that again. This is tough. Yeah, so like you, the ones that stick out are United versus Palace. I don't think I want to use Ronaldo yet, though. I think there's a better fixture down the road to use him for. Liverpool Wolves is tempting. I'm tempted to almost go Jota just because he's playing against his old team.
You can do that.
Honestly, Arsenal Everton is interesting as well because Everton's been so poor recently, but I do think they'll give us a game at home.
You could literally take Martinelli and get a hat trick. I think he starts. I genuinely think Martinelli and Tierney. I think Martinelli keeps his place. I think Saka comes in for Aubameyang. I think Tierney comes in for Tavares, and I think Lokonga comes in for Elneny.
Fair enough. I am. Oh no, I'm not. Gosh, I don't know who to pick, Ben. I'm waffling.
You are waffling at the moment. We need to end the episode, Chris. You need to pick your player.
I'm definitely waffling.
we need to end the episode.
All right, if we're gonna do that, then I actually am gonna pick against Norwich again. I'm going Kane.
Okay, that's fine. Kane, wow, big pick. Chris takes Kane.
Dude, I feel like if I'm gonna pick Kane at any point this year, it might as well be this one, you know?
Yeah, no, why not? You gotta use him. You gotta use him at some point, probably.
All right.
So Chris has Kane. I have João Cancelo.
Well, let's talk about captaincy real quick. Is there anyone else you're considering other than Salah?
Yeah, Gabriel Martinelli. On God, like not even trolling. Like if he's starting for us against Everton, he's gonna bag.
Okay, let's talk legitimately now. An FPL asset that people have.
Okay, yeah, we won't have him yet, but they will. Ronaldo against Palace is interesting. Son against Norwich is interesting. I wouldn't captain Kane.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if I had Son this week, I would be heavily considering. Honestly, I should have picked Son as my player pick. Yeah, but
I'm considering giving him the armband this weekend, but also I don't like Spurs, so I don't want to do that. Yeah, those are the Son, obviously Salah,
and Ronaldo.
And Ronaldo are my tips. But
I agree completely.
It's kind of boring because it's always the same players, but there's the reason it's always the same players.
Yes, it is. All right, I think that's good.
All right, so 1 point there. But guys, that will be it for episode 15. If you are watching us, thank you for spending your drive to work, morning, evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Make sure to drop a comment and a like on this video. Please drop a like because I'm in a terrible mood after that Arsenal game and need some positivity.
Yeah.
And yeah, make sure you're following us on Twitter at Borderline FPL. You can tweet at us, you can DM us, you can reply to us. We're tweeting throughout the week. You guys can reply to us, discuss your team with us. If you're playing along with your captaincy picks, or your not captaincy picks, your player picks with us, let us know if you're ahead of us. Chris is on 76, I'm on 75. Let us know if you're ahead of us and what players you chose to get there. And then other than that, guys, yeah, thank you for tuning in.
Well, let's real quick, Ben, let's plug the Instagram. We actually just created Instagram today.
That's correct, yeah.
So it's at Borderline FPL as well. Well, I guess it's not necessarily an at in Instagram, but it's Borderline FPL. You'll find us. We're going to start posting some clips of the podcast each week, just on kind of tips that we have moving forward or anything like that. We're going to try and get involved in the real game a little bit as well. And we actually posted a announcement that we will definitely be on Spotify beginning 2022. That is my commitment to you guys, that I will figure out Spotify, and starting in 2022 we will be on there. You'll see the post with our album cover. And guys, that about wraps it up, Ben.
That does it. Yeah, I forgot to plug the Instagram.
No, it's all right. It happened this morning.
It literally we created this morning, so my bad. But it's literally the same handle as our Twitter. Super easy to find us. Honestly, I'll put that in our Twitter, but I think you can link that. But
yeah,
just to make it easier for y'all if you really want to find it. But it's the same username. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Really quick turnaround, so make sure you get your transfers in. By the time you guys watch this, you will have
Friday night lock in the transfers. If you're from the US, if you're from England, you've got a little bit of time Saturday morning, but lock them in.
Yeah, you're running out of time by the time this is up, so make sure you get your transfers in. But that is episode 15, guys. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Peace.